Okay, let's start out with the disclaimers, because man, these exhaust systems now, they're coming with a metric ton of warning labels and paperwork over what is street legal and what's for closed course competition only. This carbon fiber slip-on from Acra is designed for closed course operation, and it is technically not street legal, so you need to be aware of that before you decide whether or not you want to install that on your bike. They do have a street legal version in the titanium, which is going to be very, very quiet, completely different, okay? Realistically, this is going to be the most popular one for sure. Now that we're through that, let's talk about the part itself. Acra is an amazing brand. The exhaust is like artwork. You can see that on this slip-on carbon end cap. Gorgeous carbon sleeve, carbon strap. The mid pipe is actually part of the can itself. High quality barrel clamp. It's got a spring retainer that goes over the OE header. This is a real simple install, right? Everything that you need to get it done is included. We're gonna break that down for you. If you're a new rider and you wanna see what it takes to do this and get the right end result, go ahead and watch it and follow the steps. The revving you heard at the beginning, the exhaust note clip, that is with this quiet insert in. This comes pre-installed in the can. It definitely has a dramatic impact. At the end of the video, we're going to show you the rev clip with this in, and then we'll also show you the one with it removed. There is a notable difference between the two. We're not sure what the power difference is yet. We are going to do some dyno work on this bike as we go through the project, comparing some of the systems, you know, even putting the insert in, pulling the insert out, and see what makes more power. It's also important to note, even though this works with that OEM header, okay, which still has the cat in it right down there, Acra has designed an optional head pipe that we have on order right now for this project. It's just on back order still, and maybe next week it'll be in. We'll do another video installing that where you're able to utilize this same canister and create a full system from the cylinder head all the way back. Typically with that, a little lighter weight and a little more power. While we're on the subject of weight, this weighs 3.25 pounds on our scale. The OE can weighed just over 9 pounds. So we're pretty close to 6 pounds in weight savings with this. Great product, hard to go wrong with Acra, that's for sure. Mapping, a lot of people are asking questions now in our exhaust videos about fuel controllers and mapping. Okay, the box stock answer, right? The liability-based answer is, yeah, you got to install a fuel controller because, you know, it could do some internal damage. Well, let me tell you this. That motorcycle right there, okay, we've had since 2015. It's been on the racetrack. It's been ridden on the street. It's got well over 1,000 miles on it. It's had multiple exhaust systems installed on it with 0 fuel controllers, 0 fuel mapping. Notice it's not blown up. It's not burnt down. With that said, fuel mapping and fuel controllers, what do those do for you? Well, they definitely help get that fuel curve just right, that last little bit of performance, that throttle response, maybe just a tickle more power, and that's when you would want to move to do something like that. Once you get the system installed, if you want to start with that, you don't want to do a fuel controller right at the same time, get the system on the bike, ride it a bit, see how you feel about it. If you're totally in love with it, there's nothing you hate about it, you know what? If it's running well, odds are you're fine. I've done that. Multiple other riders have done that too. If you're like, you know, it's just a little grabby, you know, I'd like to see if I could get a little more power out of it, then we can look to doing things like a flash tune, FT ECU, that stuff's cool. Flash the stock ECU, great way to do it. You don't install any other parts. You want to do a power commander, right? DynoJet, been around a long time. You can do that, and then you can add things like a quick shift accessory, which is super bitchin'. Bazaz also has fuel controllers. Typically they'll offer some with traction control. I don't know if they'll do that on a lightweight or not. And they also have some quick shift based stuff. So there are options, and we're here to answer all those questions if they come up. Okay, before we do our exhaust install, let's go ahead and start over. Before we begin the exhaust install, let's start with our stock exhaust note. The 400's warmed up and ready to go. There it is at idle. So as you would expect, that is pretty tame. Okay, before we dive into the install, this thing comes with a metric ton of paperwork, my brother. Okay, we've got instructions in every language imaginable. There's your warranty. Here are the installation instructions in English. Okay, those are separated from the rest, which makes it a little bit more convenient to work through. I encourage you, if you're a new rider, go ahead and dive into this a little bit. Never hurts to educate yourself, that is for sure, okay? It also comes with this, and man, we're seeing this more and more from all the exhaust manufacturers. This particular slip-on is not street legal, okay? If that's important to you, they have a titanium version that is street legal, okay? Even though you are leaving the cat on this bike when installing this slip-on, and it also does come with a noise reducing insert. It's removable if you choose to do that, but it does come with it already installed in the system, so it's going to control the decibel level, okay? But please note, all these warnings come with it. The reality of it is, a lot of motorcyclists, they install this stuff and just kind of roll with it, right? Certainly if you're going to do track days or racing, because you can also use this with their optional header to make a full system, on a racetrack, you're good to go. Those restrictions do not apply on a closed course. Okay, first thing we need to do is remove this trim panel here. Got a 4 mil down there. And then we have a standard hose clamp. From there you slide this forward, okay? You can see that tongue right there slides into the heat shield. That clamp holds this on by capturing this and snugging the clamp up. Super simple stuff. Okay, now the mounting bolt. Always keep all your stock hardware if you don't reuse it during the install. It's always handy to have that stuff down the road. I like to keep all of the hardware removed from the bikes and suggest you do the same thing. Pull that out. Got a 12 mil socket now on the T-handle. Go ahead and loosen up that stock clamp. And then go ahead and remove the stock muffler. Okay, installation of this system. Basic hand tools, right? We've got like a 3, 4, 5, 6 T-handles. We've got a 12 mil wrench socket for some of the stock stuff. The clamps, the barrel clamp, okay, that is internal Torx drive only. That is a T45, fits right in there. The canister strap, you either have an external drive or an internal T40, so the one semi-exotic tool you may need is going to be the T45 to get this install done. Okay, now let's jump into the install. This is really pretty straightforward. With Akrapovic, the quality, it's more than just what you see in the canister or even the tubing that they use. The hardware also has always been, just that little extra notch above. You pay for it, no question, but it's always just a little bit better. The first thing we're going to do is install this spring retainer that they've included. You'll note that I've taken the fastener out. I put just a little bit of blue thread locker on it. Once you take the fastener out of it, you're able to spread it open so it'll slide over the lip on the stock header. Push together so you can get this started. Fastener is kind of slippery, so I'm going to use the T-handle just to get it rolling. Not going to tighten this down right now. I'm going to get it finger tight and leave it loose enough that I'm able to rotate it on the header without too much effort. I'll show you why in just a moment. The system comes with an exhaust gasket. The inner diameter of the canister is larger than the outer diameter of the stock header. I believe the reason behind that is the optional header for this bike from Acra is most likely going to have a larger outer diameter. It'll fit tightly here. I'm guessing you won't use the exhaust gasket on that. We have that header on order. It allows you to have a full system. We'll have a video on that shortly. That pipe is still on back order. Take the gasket, slide it over your stock header like so. Notice precision fit. Got a barrel clamp. Once again, I mean, that is top quality stuff. Slip that over. From here, you can slide the canister on. I'm going to put just a little tension on this clamp. We're not tightening it now. Just get it started so it'll stay in place. Just like that. And there's actually a groove machined in that that's going to help hold it. From here, I'm going to install the spring that holds the actual slip-on itself on. Just trying to get the logo lined up right. Got that. If you don't have a spring tool, you can use just an ordinary pair of side cutters. Stretch it over. Now we'll come down to the canister strap. There's a fastener they're using to hold the two halves together. I've taken that out. I'm going to spread this open a bit. I'm holding it open because it is a little rougher on the inside. I don't want to damage the finish on that canister. I'll let that drop into position. I'm going to put a little bit of blue thread locker on that. Just going to get this started, not going to put any torque on that at all right now. Okay. From here, we can go ahead and begin final assembly. I'm pushing this all forward. The way this is machined here in the canister, in the gasket, the canister can only go on so far, and I want to make sure that it's bottomed out. Having the spring on it right now creates a little bit of tension, which is going to help me do just that. Go ahead and line up our canister strap. Right about there feels like the right position. So now we can go ahead and, as soon as I grab the right size T-handle, go ahead and put some torque on that. Make sure the two halves are lined up. If you prefer to use a torque wrench, there are torque specs included in the instructions. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and bolt the strap to the rear passenger peg, the stock exhaust mount. Got the fastener, one washer. I'm going to slide that through, lifting the muffler up, supporting it. I'm going to go ahead and push that right through. On the back side of the canister strap, we'll put the other washer. There's no need to use any thread locker. The nut that was included with this particular kit has mechanical locking built into it. You can see that the threads are actually compressed a little bit at the top. That creates enough drag. You'll notice it when you tighten it up, and it will keep the fastener from coming loose from vibration, so on and so forth. You can go ahead now and tighten this up. Okay, we got a 13 mil wrench. I've got a T40, so I'm just going to use that. You could use that. Looks like it's a 10 hex. So if you prefer, you could use that. And you can definitely feel the drag created by that nut. Like so. Now we've got that tight. Okay, now I'm going to explain why I left this loose. Once we have the canister strap installed and bolted securely to the exhaust hanger, that's going to dictate the position of the canister. This is fixed. The eyelet's welded to the mid pipe that's actually part of the can, while this is able to move. I wanted, for my end result, a good straight line between these two eyelets, and leaving this loose would allow me to manipulate its position and achieve just that. Now we're ready to go ahead and torque it. We've got thread locker on there, and there's really no reason to put a tremendous amount of torque on this. If you don't feel comfortable without using a torque wrench, please defer to the instructions, as they do include torque specs. Our last step of the install is going to be torquing this barrel clamp. Make sure I've got it positioned just right before I do that. Pick a nice position for it. This does not require a tremendous amount of torque. If you really get after this hard, all you're going to do is deform the pipes, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so just enough. Once again, if you're not comfortable, please defer to the instructions, as they do include torque specs with all of the instructions. Before we start the bike, it is very important right now that we clean all the pipes off. Anywhere you've touched it, the oils from your hands are now on that. If you start the bike and get the pipes hot, what's going to happen is you're going to burn that right into the titanium or even the stainless, and it really ruins the look of the system. So now stop. I'm going to use some WD-40 to clean this up. We'll dry it off, and then we'll start the bike. Spray a little on the rag. And anywhere that I've touched, I'm going to get that cleaned up. Take your time here, do a good job. You've got quite a bit invested in this. You want that end result to be the very best that it can. Remember, the system is cold, it has not been started. Once you've got it wiped down, we'll grab a clean dry rag, and we'll get it as dry as we can before we start the bike. Okay, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, right? What does it sound like on the bike? This slip-on comes with a quiet insert pre-installed. It is in there right now. It's important that you understand that. The sound clip we showed you at the very beginning of the video, the insert is in it. As always, if we're going to rev a bike and see if a system sounds good or not, we bring in the professional.
Yes.
Max Spank. Start it up, buddy. Let's see what you got. Okay, what do you think?
Pretty nice. I definitely, like, no fan service. I like.
Is it too quiet for you? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? Okay, now we're gonna take the quiet insert out, and we'll let little Van Man rev it again and see how he feels about it. To remove the quiet insert, there is a rubber plug in the back with an Acra logo, of course. Once again, man, these guys, the quality, it's next level. It's just the way it is. I've got, need a 4mm T-handle. You're able to get to this on the bike, which is pretty sweet. You want to try and be careful when you're pulling the actual fastener out. You don't drop it into the canister. If you do, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so I fished that bad boy out of there. Stainless steel fastener. that's wonderful, high quality, but I couldn't use a magnet to capture it, okay? So I had to rely on keeping it on the end of the T-handle to get it out. Your worst case scenario is if you drop it in there, you just have to take the canister off, kind of roll it around, you'll get it to come out of the hole.
Alright, so I just found these rags just down hanging around, and these don't really burn your fingers to take it out, so I'm just gonna take it out with the rag.
Yeah, because it's hot, so you don't want to just grab it with your fingers. Perfect.
That easy.
That easy. Well, let's see what it's got, buddy. Start it up.
Alright.
There it is without the insert in now, and that's a lot different. What do you think?
It's pretty nice, a lot better than with the insert, because it's obviously louder, a little bit deeper.
And that's really important to you, isn't it?
Yes.
It has to be loud for you to be happy. Mm-hmm. There you have it. This is our Akrapovic slip-on exhaust install on our 2018 STG Ninja
400
project bike.